But textbook right in front of you, it's really big. Now, don't get me wrong, the pages in that thing, they do fall out. It's huge. The book is so big that the spine can't support it. You probably already noticed some of the pages fall out. If your book is like really bad, like extremely bad, just let me know. I got a couple in the back I can replace it with. So that's if it's like god awful, because I had one where like everything was falling out. Every chapter was just falling out, so I can easily replace that. We're gonna do a book checkout here in a little bit, but I just want to go through a quick PowerPoint just to make sure everyone's on the same page, everyone gets to hear it, so I'm not, I'm not losing anybody on that. Let's see, we didn't have that thing plugged into the rules for days. Okay. All right. All this stuff. The big thing about model teacher, remember, I'm going to have a bunch of administrators, teachers in here randomly. Don't be thrown off. They're just going to sit in the back of my day. You can participate in whatever we're doing that day. Class materials, these are not an option. You have to have them, not a MacBook, but your Chromebook. Okay, you need those. There's going to be days where you look up stuff online, try to find different examples, different pictures of the topic we're talking about that day. Calculator, you do need one. I have 10, you guys know the drill, but they're these. That's the ones I have, and if you want something a little more fancy or something that's a little more your style, make sure you go buy one. Don't spend a lot of money on it. Notebook, dedicated notebook, and then your book needs a book cover. If you notice over there, your first assignment of the day is book cover. Now I know that I don't have it in the right spot, but book cover for everybody. You need a book cover by next Wednesday. It's August 29th. You can see the due date. So I don't care what type of book cover. I'm going to show you a couple examples of what I mean. You can have that little sock thing. You can do a socky kind of thing where it's this mesh material. The only thing I have a problem with this little mesh bag thing, if this gets wet in your locker or at home, like water spills, it actually dyes the book the color of the actual sock. So it will turn it red or pink. In this case, it will turn it pinkish color, right? And then this is like a Bill's Family food bag, but they covered it with duct tape. Like that's extreme. I would just say the Bill's Family food bag is fine. Just figure out a way that you can easily slip the book out of it. So, so just kind of keep that in mind. You do need a book cover, any style you want, as long as it's protective. This book needs to come back and forth between you every single time you walk in this room. So it will be used, so don't try to pick like the most thin paper in the world. Like I had somebody try to use like a comic book like from a newspaper, and it was just disintegrating after a week. It was gone. So try to get an actual book cover. I'm gonna do the same. I have my book over there. It's trashed. I'm gonna get a book cover on it just like you guys are. So, and then pencils. Remember, we're starting notes today. So like after we're done with all the book checkouts and all this little stuff, we are starting hot and heavy today, and we'll go through the book and make sure that you're comfortable with it. Textbook, here it is. Remember, it's super expensive. That's the used book price. Used. It was like $3.50 on Amazon today for a new. So we buy them used, obviously. So bunch of pages, yeah. The pages fall out. Just remember that. Just keep them, store them in there, keep them in your locker, something like that. There's one book. And I don't know which book it is. I need to set it off to the side. One book. It's missing chapter 1, like first chapter. We have a problem. So if you happen to get that book, I'll exchange it when we get there. Okay? Because we're in chapter P for the first one. So. Yeah, we're starting chapter P, this prerequisite stuff from Algebra 2, so hold up and fill the little gaps in case you're like crapping yourself and you don't know what to do. So, calculators, here you go. You talked about it yesterday. Don't buy the stupid expensive ones. They're stupid for a reason, don't buy them. All right. Expectations, you guys know the drill. It's going to be challenging. Accept it. Enjoy it. You're going to learn some good stuff this year, right? This stuff, textbook, you're assigned it. It does have numbers on the inside. So the big idea with this, it's on the inside cover, like that. It could be just a black number up in the corner. It could be a red number that somebody filled in with a marker or a pen, but it's on the inside cover. So if your book does not have a number, raise your hand. Perfect. You guys get to make up your own number that you want. Something 4 or 5 digits. Make up any number you want. We're going to write it on the inside with a pen. Make sense? Okay, that way it's unique and I know I'm not gonna have somebody else put that number. Okay, so you can chart, I said that might go away here in a little bit. Cell phones, thank you for putting in the caddy. Again, if you don't put in the caddy and I hear it, then it's mine. And I'm gonna hunt it down until I get it. So you can't just keep it in your pocket. Disabilities, challenges, let me know. Yeah, okay. Homework policies, did we get to this stuff yesterday? Homework policies and stuff? Okay, good. So you're gonna get some homework. You already know your first assignment. That's what it's basically gonna look like on my marker board. It's on JMC, it'll be on my website. I'll show you the website again one more time. Test quizzes, you can always redo homework if you don't like the score you got. Like you're like, oh, I missed 6 points. And know that. Go back, fix it, turn it back in, and regrade it for 100%. Okay, because I'd rather have you learn something than worry about your grade. Grades are stupid. You shouldn't have to worry about that. Test quizzes, you can always retake a test. Remember, it will be a different test. I'll just pick a different problem and make the test the same format, the same style. I just picked a different problem from the homework. That's the same type. I'm not going to pick some crazy hard one, right? Pop quiz you can't retake, so that's what we talked about yesterday. Grading policies, there you go, there's your grades. Remember, I don't take incompletes, you do have to do homework in here that I assign. Semesters, 40-40-20 rule. Grade book is 55% homework test. Quizzes are 40% participation spot. Because we spend a lot of time on homework in here. We do. I give you time to work in class, ask me questions, we do it. I actually do the homework with you if you don't know. I've done that, I think, even when you guys are in geometry, that when you guys are working on homework, I'm working on the same exact assignment, and I'm doing it in a notebook so you have an answer key. I know a lot of you use Slater to like check answers and stuff. That's great. I don't mind that. I know that seems weird that I just said that, but Slater's a nice resource. You can see, did I do it right? Did I get the right answer? Just don't copy it. Like, don't just use Slater to do your homework, right? That's cheating. So, okay, questions on any of the simple stuff that we talked about yesterday? Perfect. Now, when you walk in here for normal homework, not the stupid book cover thing, but normal homework, where are you going to put it when you walk in? There, right there in that like basket that I have my little towel right here. Okay, put it in here, drop it in like a minute or two. So if we had homework due Wednesday, like normal homework, you walk in, boom, put it there. Make sure your name's on it. The big things I want on homework, this little formality thing. So, you know, I don't care where you put this at the top of your paper. So there's your paper. Just make sure your name's on it somewhere. I don't really know. I would say if like you're going to put your name, put at least your last initial, like for your last name, right? And then the date, the actual like page numbers stuff, like all the information, like page 150, 1 through 10, blah, 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 whatever it's going to be, whatever assigned, and then what period you are. So maybe you're like PreCalc period 1. I know that seems weird, like, or why would you have us write that? You should know. Well, you can turn in homework at any point during the day. So like, let's say you turn in homework on homework due Wednesday, but you came in Tuesday, like you had study hall, like, bored, I'm done with this, I don't want to hold on to it. Boom, you put it in my basket, like during the middle of the day, so you can study hall. Fine, perfect. As long as you have that stuff, I can get it to the right folder, and then I can grade it and hand it back to you in a timely fashion. So nothing's worse than I'm in period 7, you walked in, handed in homework, I didn't even notice, or I didn't even click that you weren't in that class, and you turned it in, now your homework's in period 7, I didn't know. And none of this stuff's at the top, so I'm looking at that page like, what did this geometry kid do? He didn't do any of that homework right. So, but just make sure that stuff's on the top of the page. It doesn't have to be in that order, just somewhere at the top so I can get it to where it needs to go. All right, all the little formality stuff's done. Now, website, we talked about it yesterday. So let me pop that back up here. Okay. So, on the website, boom, go full screen. All right. Okay. Anyone know the addresses for my website? I know it's a shameless plug. What are my web addresses that I can get you there? Anyone have them now?
ghvmath.com.
Yeah, there you go. ghvmath.com. That's probably the main one that most people can remember.
HS school.
HS math. That work?
High school school.
Yeah. Let's see. We got, I think, MrWard.org. So either one, they're going to take you to the same site. I'm trying to buy you other ones, but there you go. So those will all take you to the same site. Let me type it in here, and then you can kind of see again. I know it's a shameless plug, but at least it's useful. So I can show you kind of what yesterday looked like. Let's see. Well, I guess we'll wait for that to pull up. All right, let's do a book check-in real quick. Let's get some numbers and whatnot. I'm just gonna go down the list. It's in alphabetical order, sorry. At least I think it's in alphabetical order, looks like my list is. I'm just gonna say your name, tell me your book number, and then make sure that one of you around the person that I'm gonna ask double checks that they just told me the right number. Does that make sense? The reason why, I think a couple years ago I had somebody that was somewhat dyslexic and their number was 72 and they told me 27. And I didn't think about it, I wrote 27, that sounded reasonable. And their book wasn't checked in at the end of the year. So, you gotta let me know that. So somebody seriously around them, double check. Okay, hey, but let's do the book check first, I've already committed to it. So, Belle, what do you got?
2.
2? Somebody double check that.
Word, how many digit numbers should I use?
4 or 5, just pick some random number, I'm sure no one's gonna pick yours. Billings, what do you got?
4.
4. Sam?
16.
16. Darb?
67, 82.
72. Knight?
72, 72.
72, 72. Drew?
38.
Somebody double check that.
Yeah.
38. Okay. Alright, Cassidy?
35.
35. Madeline? 9. Jacob?
52, 17.
Caleb?
26.
Lucy?
17.
17. Abby? Abby's right there. Give me Abby's number.
There is no number.
That's that big number. 10 million?
Yeah,
Keep going.
565. Or 500,000. Yeah.
65? Yeah. That's somebody making up a number. So, Ryan, what do you got?
18.
18?
19.
19. Okay. Jordan?
65, 34.
Okay. Double check, make sure. Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Those are your books. Get them covered. You guys know the drill. When do they do? Wednesday. You get 5 points for doing that. Now you're joking. Like, it's a simple project. 5 points for just getting the book cover around. Don't be that person that doesn't get a book cover on, and when I enter that score as a 0, you're already failing week 1. And I'm not joking. Your grade book will show a F. So, and here's the worst part. You got to get the book cover on there anyway, so you might as well get an A for it. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Let's go to the website here. Okay. Website, pretty basic. You're looking at it. I'll change the background here probably. But anyways, what we talked about yesterday, we have that bar at the top, right? The little menu bar. It's got daily lessons. That's the one that basically you're going to use. Let me zoom in on that. This little daily lesson tab, seriously, come on, man. Just work. All right. There. Daily lessons, that's the one you're going to probably want to use 90% of your time when you go to the website, unless you want to just scroll down for days. But it's got all the classes. If you go to archive, that's last year's and previous year's stuff. I have all the videos from all those previous years, even from, I think you guys were in geometry, so I don't take them offline. They're there. You can go back and watch them in case you need to like review something, or if you want to look at other pre-calc stuff that I've done from previous years, so maybe you didn't like the way I taught it today. You can go back and see how I did it years ago, because I obviously did it different. I switched it every year. And then professional development tab, that's for like the teachers walking in or administrators. Basketball, student council, chess club, yeah, run chess club. All right, but anyways, daily lessons. If you scroll down on the main site, this little tab here, like for PreCalc, it'll take you to the same thing that when you scroll down the page, it'll take you to the same spot. But if you scroll down, you got quotes, pictures, pretty. All right, so this is the stuff we did yesterday. So like today after school, I'll update the themes. They'll have new pictures, new outlines, everything. Especially if we get into the book a little bit, I'll update like what the outline is, especially right there. But anyways, these are all hot links. So if you're on PreCalc here, you can click the word PreCalc, the picture, the homework little thing at the bottom. It'll take you all to that main site that I said yesterday for what we did yesterday in class. If you keep scrolling, it tells you what the class is about. This stuff, like you click on PreCalc or you click down here in the book, it takes you to the same thing that thing way at the top did. It takes you to the outline of all the stuff we did in class. So, so right here, oh, I haven't updated this yet, but Right here, there's going to be a bunch of links here for things that are actually useful to you this year. Khan Academy, in case you need to look up something or you want to practice a certain type of problem. Khan Academy is really great. It's got videos, it's got little like click-through links, and you can actually practice like some math, and it's free. You don't even, I don't think you even have to sign up for it. I think you can just click and do things. So it's cool. Use it if you're not quite getting something, or something you're gonna ask me. We'll try to do about SciMath. SciMath is a way of like solving math problems, and it like does it. It's kind of like Slater, but you can type in a math problem and it shows you like the way to do it, like different ways to do it. So, and it actually like it just has like a bullet checklist, like this is what you do, and this is what you do next, and it kind of explains. It's kind of a cool thing. I think some kids found it, I think a year or two ago. Hey, perfect. Welcome back. How's your face going?
Huh?
How's your face?
No, I just got a new wire.
All right, but SciMath, some kids found it years ago. It's actually really helpful. Definitely look at that website sometime. Wolfram Alpha is my go-to. Wolfram Alpha is the coolest calculator on the planet. It's made by Microsoft. It can do anything. Graph. It can tell you how to solve problems. It can give you the history of where that math problem came from. It's super intense. It looks like a search engine, like Google, but it's not. It's an actual calculator. It does things. It's like think of it like an encyclopedia. It doesn't search the web. It just gives you the information it knows. And then Desmos is what we use for graphing. So that's like the go-to grapher program. Now, if you have any other cool ones that you want, I'll throw them up there too. So maybe I should even ask later in case you need to check answers. But yeah, so the carousel here, this is where all your videos will show. Obviously, I did not update that. Let me update that in front of you so you can actually see how fast this can be updated. All right. So, PreCalc. Oh, this internet's painful. So slow. My dog and stuff almost got on the computers. Alright, I'll update this in front of you, and then when I hit refresh, you'll see what this is normally going to look like. Display, past events, apply, save. Alright, now let's hit refresh here. Alright, this is what it's going to look like almost all the time. There you go. Alright, so, alright, when you're on this, and this is basically what it's going to look like today, there'll be a second video. It'll probably be sitting right here. And it'll have the same thing. It'll have the chapter, the title, it'll have a nice pretty picture like what I used on the front page. And it'll say, maybe something more specific, but when you click on it, now you have the outline of what we did in class. This is basically what we're going to talk about. It has the homework assignment. If there's worksheets, these are clickable. You can download them right to your Chromebook and print them out on the printer in the Media Center. I think they saw that MacBook sitting in that Media Center, like on that one of those tables in there. No? Okay. I'll see if I can talk to Mrs. Hegg about that. They usually have a MacBook sitting in the library that you can use like on this website, like just log into the website, click that, and it'll download that worksheet to that MacBook, and you can print on the printer that's in the Media Center. So if you lose it and you're stressing, especially like practice tests, it's really nice if you lost it and you want another one, you can always do that. But I always usually have a couple. But if it has PowerPoints, here you go. The PowerPoints are clickable. You can even drag them to your computer and download the slides individually, one at a time. But then here's the video. So I updated this yesterday right after school. So if you're actually watching those videos, so maybe like Abby was gone, she wants to go back and watch the video. This is what it looks like. Perfect. Okay. Not bad. That was yesterday in class. That's the PreCalc textbook. It's going to go through a couple things there. Big thing about. So, I think they look pretty good. You can go full screen. It's on YouTube, no ads or anything like that. So, except that weird stuff there. All right. I don't know what that is. Go away. All right. But that's for you guys. The reason why I put that all together is so that if you're really stressed, you don't know what you're doing, you're gone. They're always there. The video I'm recording right now, so this will go online right after school today. So, okay, questions, comments, concerns about that stuff? Perfect. Okay. I know it's a lot to take in. I just did the abbreviated version of it yesterday. Okay, everyone's got their book. I think we already got your book number, I believe. Yeah, it's the really big number. Okay, book covers on by Wednesday. No joke. 5 points, don't wait. Because if you lose those 5 points, you're already failing day 1. So don't do that. Okay, let's open up our books. Let's go on there. I want to talk about your textbook. I know that seems a little stupid and silly, but I do want to talk about it. Alright. Stop the video and we'll restart here. Okay. The number one thing that people have problems with in math class, other than, complicated mathematics, is they don't even understand how to even look at their textbook. Like at all. You don't know what to look for, you don't know what it's telling you don't know how to read it, because it's just not familiar. It's not, it's not like English textbook where it's just word for word. I mean, a lot of times they have examples, they have very weird diagrams, you don't know what you're looking at when you happen to open that textbook. So, when you're on that first page, so what page are you on? I think it's page, maybe even, you're missing the whole first chapter. All right, so we're gonna have to replace that. All right, so good to know. All right, so, let me borrow that. So you got the table of contents. I usually use this quite a bit in case you don't know what we're doing. They have all the topics, so you can kind of see the chapters. I pointed out yesterday we're doing like P through 4. That's chapter P, chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you can get the topics we're going to be eventually talking about, which will look a lot like Algebra 2, because a lot of the stuff is just extending Algebra 2 further. Then you got a bunch of pieces of paper about what we're going to be doing. All right, and then when we get into it, this is like the first chapter, what it's going to look like. Okay, it's got the header at the top. This is P1, section P1, and it's got a little pill. I want you to flip pages. So you're on page, what is this, page 2, right? I want you to flip in your book until you find the next section. Billings, I'm going to get you a new book. Look at this one. See if it... All right. Billings, does that have a chapter 1 on it?
I believe so.
Okay, you want to do that number?
25.
25? Okay. All right. Okay, did everyone find section 2? What page are you on? 19. I'm not going to joke. When I first opened this book years ago, when I first was handed this book, like, this is your new PreCalc book, and I dropped it on. I could not find that page. Like I was flipping, I was like, God, where's the second section at? Like, it just goes for days. Yeah. Eventually I found chapter 2, because I eventually stumbled, because they always had that really bright, pretty picture, but look at where the second section starts. It starts in like the middle of a page. There's no header, nothing. You wouldn't even notice it. There's still homework problems above it. Like, that is crazy to me. Like, that I couldn't see that. So, just be aware that this book is very subtle. It goes from one thing to another, and it never stops. It never wastes space, ever. Look how many problems were in that, right above that. Section P1 had 160 some problems? That's ridiculous. And I think there's a whole page of story problems before that. Don't crap yourself. I'm not going to be assigning 162 problems. Because how many problems do I have to check? All 162 if I assign them for everyone that I assigned. So I'm not doing that. My math professor in college did that to me. That day 1, Calc, it was Calc 1, and I was in high school still. I was senior in high school at Ventura. I was taking Calc 1 at the time, my fall year, and we had a book similar to this. It was red, but it had like each section like this had 250 problems. And he would sign 1 through 250. And he would pick 4 to do grade. Are you kidding me? You know how long that took me to get done when I was a senior in high school doing 3 sports? It was ridiculous.
Quick question.
Yes.
There's 2 drawer files in your old class
Yes.
that have locks on. Do you have keys for those?
No. I don't think I ever used them. I brought all my cabinets that I had in here. All my cabinets I
Those
brought
must
with me.
come from somewhere else then.
They must came from somebody else.
Those were yours.
Mine's here and the other ones are in there.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, so yeah, my professor did that to me, and he did that for 5 days a week, all semester. It was every section we're in, it was every problem in that section. I'm not doing that to you. That's stupid. It didn't make me a better math student. It just made me figure out how to cheat faster. I'm not gonna do that to you. So, if you're looking at this, I'm gonna pick a few problems. I told you yesterday, like 10 to 25 problems. Yeah, some days I'll pick that. Okay, if you go back a couple pages, let's go back to like page 16 or 15 even. 15 at the very bottom, there's some. Yeah, go back to page 15. Go back to page 15. Okay. All right. So there's problems at the bottom. I know they're kind of hard to see. Like very easy problems. You're looking at it like, wow, that looks kind of like algebra 1 and algebra 2. Yeah, like those are great. Those are the starter problems. And then you flip to the next page. Now I'm on page 16. Now it starts getting a little bit heavier and more dense. And then you get to the next page and it gets even more dense. This book is so unique. What you're looking at in front of you is everything you probably should have learned in Algebra 1 in about one section, in about 19 pages. That's insane. Like there's a lot of stuff. The only thing it didn't cover was graphing, really. It didn't cover like linear graphs. But it covered pretty much everything you need to know in Algebra 1, or at least general topics, right? You had expressions, you have sets, you have absolute value, you have little things that you should learn in Algebra 1. It even has, order of operational stuff that most kids fail at all the time. And then when you keep going to story problems, every once in a while I pick a story problem or two. I'm not going to be that person that picks 20 of them because they're the best problems. No, they're not. They're different. They just have different instructions. So I usually will try to pick a couple. Now, the problem that you guys are going to figure out in PreCalc is that we cover, like if you're looking at this first section, we cover 15, 16 different topics per section. Per one section, you can see all the different problems we're looking at. They're all different. So there's a lot of notes in here. I told you yesterday, my other classes, like geometry and other things last year, went through 3 5-star notebooks. There's a reason why this one uses a lot of paper. You're looking at it. It covers everything in Algebra 1 in one section that you should have learned. And then when you go to the next section, just go to P2. Go to P2. So what was that, page 19? Keep flipping. Go find section 3. Now you're at page, what, 30, 31?
30.
Holy gods, you're going like 10, 15 pages every single time on average. And look at how many problems were before that. 150? It's 149? It's silly. And it never stops. It goes all of 1,200 pages like this, and it never stops. It just keeps going. It never takes breaks, it never uses extra space, and never wastes it. As you can tell, this class can get intense. Like we're going to start talking about topics, especially in this first section. I know it can be like boring. You're going to look at me like, Ward, this is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. We have to cover it. You have to have a solid base before we get into chapter 1, where we're going at stuff that you probably have not seen before. At least I hope that you have never seen it before. Definitely, because I'm pretty rigorous when we get into these certain things that I want it a certain way. I want you to do it a certain way so it's correct and you understand the math behind it. So this class is not geometry, okay? I'm not looking at doing theorems and doing proofs and stuff like that. I'm not doing that. That's not what the purpose of this class is. The purpose of this class is learning how to do mathematics correctly. Not all 20 steps like we did in geometry class, but we have to learn the idea, almost, it's not a history math, but we have to learn the basic mathematics and how to apply that to bigger topics. So this class can get intense. So we're going to talk about stuff that you might know how to do. Maybe you've never seen topics and how to do it before. So that's what we're going to try to cover. Let's go back to page 15 again. I'm going to bounce around a little bit. Okay. The first assignment we're going to get, I think we might get assignment maybe on Tuesday next week, like an actual book problem. We're going to do some notes today and Monday and stuff, and maybe Tuesday we'll get some homework. We're going to probably start on page 15 with the homework. I know some of you can probably do some of these problems right now without even me having to explain it, but I do want to have a solid base, so if in case you're worried and like, I don't remember how to do some of that, we're going to cover it. Especially some of these topics, like you probably know how to do the problems 1 through 12. You plug in X, you plug in Y, you solve, you just do simple algebra, right? Fine. Most people can do that and they're more than fine. Turn the page. Go to page 60. Now you start to get in the middle of the page, maybe around numbers 21 through 34. Now this is getting a little weird. Now they're using weird symbols like U's and N's between curly braces. Those look a little strange. That's called a union and intersection. You may or may not have seen it in Algebra 2. I'm hoping you have. But if you didn't, those are the problems that we need to get used to. That, what you're looking at there from problems 21 to 34, is a basic way of writing answers down when a problem has multiple solutions, like when there's multiple different answers. That's correct notation. It's interval notation. That's what they use it. Okay. Set builder notation almost. That's something we need to get used to, because everything we learn in this first section we use later, like a lot. So I know it seems silly. Now there's some problems with absolute value. We'll talk about that stuff. And then there's some, basic computational stuff near problems 85 through 102. There's basic stuff like how to distribute correctly, how to add like terms, simple stuff you probably learned in Algebra 1 and 2 and you're more than comfortable with. So we'll talk about some topics in there. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be hitting, today and Monday and whatnot. So that gives you kind of a sense. Now, if the assignment becomes like daunting, like there's a lot of things that are very randomly different. Like these things are all kind of similar, simple algebra stuff. But if we're in a section where there's like major discrepancies in topics, like one of the sections that we have is there's a section where there's parabolas and then there's hyperbolas. And these are all in the same section, right? The pictures look the same, but there's radically different math behind it. That type of stuff, we're going to take a step back and maybe, we'll learn just parabolas, and when I assign homework, it'll just be on these, and that's the only ones I pick. As opposed to, because if you're looking at all the homeworks, 150 problems, I might only pick a few problems on this one, and that's what we'll do for one assignment, maybe Tuesday, right? And then Wednesday, maybe we'll do just problems on these. So we'll get homework on the next assignment, but we're still in the same section. So we'll do that every now and then. So the homework assignments they could come fast and furious sometimes, but there's not a lot of problems because they're kind of adding up to the same assignment. So, but if you're going back, so flip it back a couple pages, go page 15 and 14. I think these have a pretty good example. If you're looking at page 15, they have that green pill. I think it says example number, what is that? Example number 9. The green pill on page, what are we on, 15? Okay. Those are basically what the example things look like. So the big pills, they show you kind of what to do. The stuff in blue off to the side is actually incredibly helpful. Like what they have, it's like little notes that the author thought was kind of important for you to learn. Sometimes I figured out over the years of doing this, the things in the blue writing, or if you're looking at page 14, there's like a blue text box that looks like a quote box, like a speech box. Those sometimes are kind of important. I know some people just glance over them, but it actually kind of explains why we do some stuff, why we have to do it this way. That's kind of useful. If there's any other checkpoint questions, so if you're looking, I think they say checkpoint number 9, they have a question there. The reason why I bring this up, if you're looking at that and it says checkpoint number 9. Checkpoint number 9. And I think it's in like an orangish color, hopefully I'm not colorblind, but it's, okay. If you're going to the back of the book and you're checking answers in the back, because I know there is an answer key in the back of your textbook, I think it only has odds like all other textbooks do. You need to be careful that the first thing, because it will say section P1 answers or solutions, I think it says in the back of the book. You need to be careful. The first few problems are checkpoint answers. They have the answers in the back of the book for checkpoints. And then there's a section after it, P1, that might say actual homework. So we need to make sure that you're always on this second section, so that when you're checking your answers in the back, you're actually looking at the right answer key. So just be careful of that. Does that make sense? So flip to the back. Let's flip all the way to the back. Hopefully you have an answer key in the back. If you don't, you're going to get really comfortable with Slater. So Slater basically, all Slater did, I'm not joking, they just took the teacher answer key, which is this thing, and that's what they put on Slater. That's where it comes from. So if you're looking at the back, there's a lot. I think they call them double A's, like double A1, double A2. Those are all your answer keys. I'm not joking. What I would do is take a piece of paper and just bookmark it in the back. And so every section we move to, you just bookmark so you know where the answer key is. I know it seems weird that I'm telling you to do that. It's nice that you can flip back and go, okay, what was my answer number 1? Because I will assign odds. I'm not that person that's like, oh, we're only doing evens. That's not right. So I will assign them. So you can check the back and see, and they just go for days. But you can kind of see, so if you're looking at, I think, look at AAA4. Go to AAA4 if you actually have that. Sorry if you don't. I'm looking at the very, very back there, Bell. Like way back. AAA4 in the very, very back. Okay, at the very top, you can see it says checkpoint exercises at the very top of the page, correct? That's what I was talking about. Like in the middle of like all the notes that your book had on section P1, this is just a checkpoint question. It was like an example in your book. They give those answers for those in case you were trying them on your own. Like, I don't know who would try them, but you're trying. So they have the answers. And then below the checkpoint, then it says just exercise set P7, right? So now you're in section P7, and it's giving you all the answers for the normal homework problems after that. Does that make sense now? So it's checkpoint versus the normal homework set. So just be careful that you're checking the right ones. I've been caught myself, like looking at the back and checking like that you can do that problem right, because some of this stuff can get increasingly difficult, especially when you're trying to find max and mins and you're trying to do all this other stuff with it. And I was looking at the back and I'm like, God, their answer is way wrong. How did they get 12? Well, yeah, I was looking at the checkpoint answers. I wasn't even thinking about it. So just be careful where you identify. They do a pretty good job. There's sometimes they won't have any answers in the back. Okay, in that situation, you might want to ask me, because I always do all your homework problems on these little yellow notepads. Every problem that you do, I do as well. Every single problem, so you have an answer key to always look at in case you need it. Or you can check Slater, I guess. But it's one of those things that's kind of nice if you get comfortable with that book. You can kind of see. If you're missing the answer key in the back, really sorry, some people are. Are you missing the answer key, or is it just there? All right. So it is kind of nice to check that. Let's go back to page 14, 15. I know I'm bouncing around a lot. All right, this is gonna be a weird question. Everyone's looking at a picture of a couple sitting on a bench with a dog, right? What's the dog doing in your guys' picture? Standing. Anyone have the picture of the dog peeing on the neighbor? You have it? Yeah. I'm not joking. This is weird. You can see it. Yeah. Dog is peeing on the owner next to him. There's only I think I have like 6 or 7 books. It's the exact same picture, just the dog is peeing on the person that's holding it. That book, you're gonna notice that it's the same book as everyone else. Every problem's the same. I've double checked that book because I found it. That book, no matter what picture they have, you're gonna have a slightly inappropriate one in its spot. It'll be the same picture. Like if you look at his book and this book, the pictures look identical. You wouldn't probably not notice it at first. But the picture will be slightly inappropriate. I don't know why. And it came in the same order that I ordered these books. They're just random. I don't know why. So have fun with that. So yeah, I didn't notice that until one of my kids years ago found that. And they're like, Ward, did you see this picture on page 14 or 15? No. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's just weird. I have like 5 or 6 of them, so it's kind of random. But, all right. If you're looking back to the sections, it kind of has, there's not really a lot of vocab. They have kind of bold, highlighted text. If you look back to page 12, they have tables. The tables itself will kind of explain the math, and if there's like a lot of different properties. Like that one is like, I think it's all the basic properties of real numbers, I think. So it's, the distributive property, the associative. Like, I know you guys are like panicking, oh my God, it's geometry. Yeah, no, it's not. It's just, these are the basic stuff for algebra. You should have learned those words in algebra, which is a shame that you didn't, if you didn't. But those are like the basic properties. We're gonna use that. Like that's stuff that I don't expect you to know the name, I expect you to know how to do the math, right? To distribute correctly and move parentheses in case your math is too hard. So, but yeah, so there is a lot of stuff in this book, as you can tell. Like it's thick. There is 1,200 pages for a reason. I mean, if you're going and you're kind of looking at the stuff we're going to talk about, expressions here. I think the next section talks about the laws of exponents. The next section after that talks about radicals and doing roots of some type. like there's a lot in this first 2-3 week period before we have our first test. Like we have some serious math to get through. So it's kind of a crash course in Algebra 2 on stuff that hopefully if you weren't comfortable with, I'll make you a little more comfortable with it. Okay? Alright, good time. So, remember, book covers, get them on.